so many large corporations, and what do they call it? 500. It has a name. The giant corporations, the ones that they make a certain amount of money, which, what do they call? I don't remember.
Like Fortune 500?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, those fall into the category as a Delaware, of course, very basic. So as long as they're incorporated in Delaware, they will be considered a Delaware corporation. And the reason they do that is just because of the benefits that it presents. So I find out that Apple, a privately owned corporation, allows public to invest in those type of corporations, and they get some sort of break, and it's like business friendly rules that has some benefits to be or being incorporated in Delaware. But there's also some cons. Not all corporations will benefit from being incorporated in Delaware, and it depends. So there's the domestic, and then there is the ones that reside in different states, but they are incorporated in Delaware. So my example was Apple. So I chose Apple as the Delaware corporation because it's open to public investors, and they do that through so they do that through a financial advisor or a stockbroker, so they can buy stocks from it, and it varies. So it's I guess that was my example. Just trying to go simple, but I also find out that Apple, it's also part of it's one of the number one worldwide growing corporations. So it's in that category, and that's because it's incorporated in Delaware, gets those benefits as well.
Gotcha. Cool. Like I kind of talked about, like I couldn't really find a specific article about the Delaware corporations. Everything that I could find was just on how Delaware wasn't the place that it used to be for Delaware corporations, and how there's so many more costs that Delaware has now. So for my example, I kind of just explained a Delaware corporation, how they, pretty much are out of Delaware, but do business in other states because of the benefits that they can have in Delaware. And then kind of talked about a couple different articles of what they were saying of how it wasn't as beneficial anymore compared to what it used to be for corporations in Delaware now. So mine was pretty much just informatory, so I didn't have any specifics.
Okay. I guess my example, I just listed off a few from the website that I had found. Hold up here. See, they've got Walmart, Apple, Coca-Cola, and Google. So those are just 4 big ones, and I'm sure a lot of other companies locate there. And then the article I was reading about kind of talked about how there's really consistent corporate law, so it's easy for these bigger companies to know where they're going with particular lawsuits and things. So not too much to it, but that's the article that I found.
Sweet. So for our question, how do we want to how are we going to have 4 answers all about Delaware Corporation unless we want to incorporate a sole proprietorship, partnership? You want to bring those into there somehow, or?
I guess we could say maybe something like a Delaware corporation is, and then the correct answer we could say like Google incorporating in Delaware. And then for some wrong answers, we could be like McDonald's serving citizens of Delaware, something like that. Just make it like one of them obvious ones. You're like, oh.
Yeah, I don't, because like Delaware Corporation, it's like you have the right answer, which is going to be that like they're using Delaware for the benefits, and then you're going to have nothing really super similar to that. That's not going to sound wordy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was also thinking about maybe highlighting some of the main benefits of incorporating a company in Delaware. Because from the list we have like about 9, and we could say something about Google, like Jake was saying, and maybe saying what benefits. What are the main benefits a corporation could benefit from for incorporating under Delaware corporate law, something like that. And I know 3 or maybe 4. Yeah, I know at least 3. They're really relevant. Which one of the what I was reading and was really cool was about the fact that they have their own business courts. I think they have 2 subcategories of courts. Which one is the Delaware district, the Delaware system courts, and then they have the Delaware
Court of Chancery.
Chancery Court, which it's really cool what they do, and perhaps maybe we can highlight, something simpler to that and say one. Okay, so those are the 2. Okay, that, and one question, maybe that could be one that we.
I guess we could say one of the benefits of incorporating in Delaware is the correct answer. We could put Court of Chancery specific corporations.
We could say that the state of Delaware, it's the only state that it has the court of that it has a business courts where all the claims and okay, don't want to make it too complicated. So one aspect is that they have it's the only state that has a business court. That will be the correct answer.
Okay. And then kind of like the explanation, you can go into detail of like it has you can say the specific name of the court, and which will give benefit to corporation. I don't know.
Yes, I think then on the feedback we could talk about those 2 courts, and mainly just I'm gonna say, I think I have it written somewhere.
So I guess what I wrote, the quiz question. Actually, here, let's do this. You guys see that pretty well?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So there's a quiz question. So the correct answer, Delaware has a court of chancery specific to corporations. And the correct answer feedback. Delaware is the only state that has the Court of Chancery, that has a Court of Chancery.
Okay.
Like it.
Specific to corporations, which helps with predictability of corporate law.
Okay.
I like it. And then I liked what you said in like for a wrong answer, like McDonald's being able to branch out and have a branch in Delaware to sell food to the citizens of Delaware.
I always miss the A in that for some reason.
And then like the feedback, we could just put like a Delaware corporation use more specifically focuses on doing business outside of the state of Delaware also. I don't know. Sweet.
Does that work, right?
Okay. Is that true? No, that's a wrong answer, right?
Yeah.
But somehow I think they do get a break on
They
their.
get a break, but they still have to pay them. I guess, yeah, I can put that in the answer. I guess you still have to pay taxes, but there are more breaks, I guess, comparatively. That works?
Sorry guys, my wife called.
You're good. So, one more wrong answer.
Okay.
You could do like you could say talk about a business that only does business out of Delaware.
Can you explain it a little bit more? I'm not sure how to write it.
Trying to think. Because it's almost like I'd have to just make up a corporation. We could say something to the effect of like a corporation that specifically does business out of Delaware and not elsewhere. And then our feedback on that one could be the point of a Delaware corporation is to do business elsewhere. I don't know. Awesome.
I guess within Delaware.
That's better wording.
Yeah. Okay. I like that one. It's a good one.
Okay. Now, do we need to talk about the group presentation, right?
Yeah.
So that was, what was their names? How do you pronounce it? It's like Mains or Man?
Mains?
Mans? I don't, what would you say, Jake?
1 second. I'm trying to save this here. I don't want to lose your word. There it is. There we go. Wondering about their names right now?
Yeah, like
I don't know.
David Biker and Thomas Mains or Mans?
I don't know. Could be either. So let's just go with Mains.
Okay, Mains. I'm gonna say that too. That's kind of what I wanted to be saying. So first, let's talk about like how we like actually think it should be, because Mains was the one that didn't want to continue putting money into their partnership, correct?
Yeah.
So would you say that their partnership still would like stand and they'd both have to be liable for those funds? I kind of think so, but I just want to know your guys' opinions.
Yeah, well, I read through most of this, and I think that he should be, with how the law is worded in Michigan, he should be liable to basically pay 50-50 for. I feel like they had a lot of success up to that point, and then for him to jump off of the boat right when they start to not have success, I don't think that's fair to Riker.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what the courts came to a conclusion with, right? Is like,
yeah,
they are liable under the terms of the partnership.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what they said is it doesn't matter if they subjectively meant to create a partnership. It's like an implied partnership because of the wording here.
Okay, and I didn't fully understand what the Court of Appeals, like what they were getting at.
The quote on what?
Because in that same like document, it says, further, the Court of Appeals emphasis upon subjective intent as being a prime importance in asserting whether a partnership exists. Belies the absence in the statute of even a reference to such intent as a factor of consideration. And like, so the Court of Appeals was basically just determining whether there was even an existence of the partnership. Okay. So how do we want to do this? Because the last time we just did the recording and kind of acted it out. What do you guys think?
Give me 1 second. I'm wondering, I'm using a Mac and I have iMovie on there, so I can kind of make little movies. And I think what I could do is I could actually take, if we did one like the first court or the trial court, and then we did the appeals court, and we acted it out and then paused it right there, stopped it right there, I think that I could take that and then put it on to like the next one. If in the next meeting we do the Supreme Court. Make sense?
The what court?
Supreme Court.
Oh, okay.
Michigan Supreme Court. That way, like, we're here at the trial court. Da 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 da. And it's like, here at the appeals court, we disagree. Like, and that's the end of it there. And then come back and say, we appealed it again. This is the Supreme Court now, and we think the trial court was right, and we're remanding this.
Awesome. Okay.
I think it'll work. I don't have too much experience with this, but I'm pretty sure you can just put a video and then another video and then create like a little.
Kind of like a combination of both.
Yeah. But
Okay, so who wants to be Mains and who wants to be Biker and who wants to be the judge?
I think we have our judge.
I'm pretty sure Jake knows what I'm going to say he should be because, you know, he just has the demeanor. He has the authority. So, Jake, I say that you are the court.
Okay.
Like the judge, giving us the ruling of the court. What do you want to be, Jorge? I'll be the other.
Well, I have to read a little bit more about the case, but yeah, I can be the plaintiff.
Okay, so I will be Mains, the douchebag that didn't want to pay.
Okay, so basically, the case. So the two partners, it's like an implied partnership. They don't really have a formal. It's not a formal agreement because they just assume that they were gonna do business and investments and some other, It's mostly about investments, and they have property that they're doing, and so they decide to then create their two companies, right? I mean, just to create a company, but then they split those, like make sure that they both have like one is in charge of one and the other one is in charge of the other side of the business, but still into the general partnership. And then over time, the plaintiff and him, they get in trouble. Correct me if I'm wrong. This was my perception of the readings, which I just didn't have the time to read it really well. So, so one of them, both of them got into financial problems. So I don't know with which one of the companies, but then they were forced.
So the way I understand it, so basically they're both in this company together. Like Jake said, you know, they were having success, but then over time they were putting continually more money into it. And Biker was the one that he was putting in more money than Mains was. And so they weren't really sharing the amount that they should both be putting into the business. Like, pretty much Biker was taking the blunt of everything. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jake.
I'm going to share my screen again, actually.
Let me also pull up the case because I don't have it in here. Let's see here.
I got it pulled up right here. So
Oh, okay.
in the facts and proceedings, it talks about how they started business right here. And then comes down through, it talks about their partnership in all these different ones. And those are just a bunch of different businesses that they kind of co-managed or whatever, or shared interest in. And then right here is where it talks about, in the green, where things started to go wrong.
So were they in financial trouble?
Up to this point, no. And then they made this one called Pier 1000 Ltd, which was created to own and manage a marina. I believe that's how you say it. So then shortly after the creation of Pier 1000 Ltd, the marina encountered serious financial difficulties, and then they started borrowing money from different places. They took out loans to try to keep this business afloat, but it just didn't work out. So then eventually the defendant, Maines, refused to make any additional monetary contributions. And then right here it talks about how the marina was returned to its original owners. And that's when, let's see, it's Riker, right? Biker decided to sue. Well, he went to his partner first and said, hey, can you send me some money here because of this failed business? And he's like, what? No way. And he's like, okay, well, I'm going to take you to court then.
Yeah, like that's how I think we could even start the recording. Is just be like, hey, we're having problems like in the business, and I'm putting like, Jorge, you'd say this, you'd say pretty much like, hey, I'm putting in a lot of contributions into this, and can you send me some money to help out with this? And I'll just be like, no, there's no way I can do that. Like, I'm not going to put any more money into something that I'm not going to get anything out of. And then you just pretty much will be like, okay, then I'm going to take you to court over this. And then Jake will come in and talk about the court and how do you want us to participate in that whole court part, Jake?
Honestly, if you take it to that point, I could probably just go and say, here at the trial court, we find that the parties have created a general partnership because the law in Michigan is that parties must merely have an intent to carry on a business for profit, not a subjective intent to create a partnership.
Okay. And then I will appeal.
Have a partnership.
Okay. And then right after that, you want me to say like, oh, there's no way I'm going to appeal this and take it to the Court of Appeals? Or are we going to stop it right there after the first court?
Okay, so let me just recall how did they met? They had the text says they had something in common, right?
Yeah,
And
they met like
someone was doing accounting work and someone was familiar with real estate. So which one was that?
It's right here. Here, I'll put it in a different color. Purple. Right there is what they start doing. So the plaintiff would be Biker.
Okay.
So then Maines would be the accountant.
That's kind of interesting because I'm an accounting major.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've got 3 minutes till this one ends, so I'll probably just redo one after that, and then we can record it.
Can't.
Okay.
That is interesting.
Let's do this.
Okay, perhaps maybe if we highlight. Okay, so we're starting at the point where we're getting into a disagreement.
Yeah.
So kind of like the business is declining and you're putting in more money than I am, and you come to me asking me like to help contribute to the funds of it, and I am going to deny it and say like I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to put any further. Oh, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, you are going to be absolutely dumbfounded, is what it says in the case.
Right. Okay. The most relevant, what is it, businesses? The most relevant, see, that's the thing, I didn't get it. So the most relevant investments they were doing was it about real estate? No. Let me see. Let me look it up really fast too. If I could. I think Jake's battery went down. I mean, Dylan's. Let me see here.
I think we ran out of meeting time.